Hey guys, how are you guys doing? So basically, this is my video response to the first inquiry that you guys have, the first problem that you guys have, like how do you actually elevate your current Google Sheets dashboard into a much more, I would say, real-time, bug-free, and most importantly, when you are loading a huge chunk of data set from Supermetrics, you're not gonna face things like crashing or it gets buggy, when you're dealing with big data set. Now, here's a demonstration of how, I'm using this tool called Looker by Google, which actually allows you to create dashboards. It allows someone like myself, being able to do data engineering, the backend stuff, dealing with BigQuery. This tool suits perfectly to kind of build that dashboard that you need, at least for the first phase before the second phase, so because the second phase that we're going to talk about in later video is going to be a custom one that is not relying any tech stack by Google, but this is our own one. Basically you can literally build this, like I can literally build this kind of dashboard with Django or Python, and totally dependent free from tech stack. So it's a custom one, so I'm going to touch that later, probably on the second video. Okay, so yeah, so the first thing I want to mention is, I'm using this because my client wanted to make, wanted to have an interactive dashboard that they can play around with, and without even worrying that the data might break, because again, Google Sheets, it's very easy to break things. You mess things up, someone mess around with the color name, or someone mess around with the values, everything messed up, because you might have a lot of formulas, pivot tables somewhere in the other columns, when you want to build and consolidate that data into a dashboard. It's very fragile, that I'm telling you. So which is why I would strongly recommend moving from Google Sheets to a much more reliable data warehouse like BigQuery, because it can hold your data intact without, it won't be easy for people to change this little stuff that's going on here, right? We don't want that to happen. So what's going to happen is that when I'm pretty sure you guys are using the Supermetrics API for Google Sheets, so which can channel the data to here. So that part is done. So the next thing you want to do is, how do you actually migrate, import this Google Sheets material into BigQuery, right? So that comes, so this is where, again, being a developer myself, this becomes an advantage because I know coding and I can definitely code that. I don't need to use any plugin because, again, we're trying to keep the cost very low. You guys already did a great job with choosing Supermetrics, because Supermetrics is very cheap as compared to its competitors like Fivetran or Stitch, which can cost you $2,000 per month. So spending their basic plan $79 to $299 plan on the essential plan, that is quite decent to spend on a monthly basis to address your marketing goals. Unless you're becoming a data agency, then that's a different goal, that's a different metric. Then Fivetran and Stitch would be a better tool for you. But then, because we are using this only purely for marketing, then Supermetrics should be sufficient. Now, to address the shortcomings, this is where I would import data into BigQuery, and it would be something like this. And again, I'm not disclosing everything here. This is just a snippet. The function, the script is much longer than this one. But all I'm saying here is that from this script, instead of using plugin or paying plugins, I can code the stuff, to kind of export sheet to the BigQuery. And then remember that remember the challenge is not only you want to make sure that the BigQuery receives the data first time, but you also must ensure that the data gets refreshed again and again, because this sheet is going to be updated on a daily basis, right? So right now you can see that the data is being updated up till the 1st of January 2024, and you want to make sure that BigQuery picks that up. So this is where you need dedicated developer like myself to kind of help you develop that on the back end, to kind of, not only do the step 2, but you can see here the one that I'm not sure disclosing is step 2, which is the reset and refresh, which is a different, with a different script altogether, to build, to make things work. So those are, those are the scripts that, for achieving how do you import data from Google Sheets to BigQuery. Now, once it's inside the BigQuery, again, this is where, you can do a lot of analysis, you can do a lot of stuff going on here where you can pre-process the data. The secret to having a very fast dashboard is pre-processing everything in BigQuery. You let BigQuery do all the jargon, do all the technical work, the backend, the processing work. If you do, Supermetrics is not geared for that kind of stuff, which is why it gets, buggy, crash when you try to load a million data sets. So, for example, you can see here, like, it can track like a span of 340,000, and then a span of a span of 340,000, and then revenue of 2.5 million. It can even, like, we can even go even further back, like, without any issue, let's go with years, no, not 30 years, we can do 3 years, and then go apply. Okay, give it a few seconds. You can see less than 5 seconds, it's loading. 13 million worth of spend with 91 million return of revenue. So you can see that how much data that we are compiling in just a few seconds. And imagine doing that on Google Sheets. It will be really messy, it will be really buggy and stuff like that. So this is where I would focus on, like, building this is in BigQuery SQL. So you need a developer like myself, because this is the language of data scientists. Data scientists would actually build this kind of stuff, but because I have experience in that as well, which is why you kind of get the whole full stack package, with me being able to do the coding steps all the way till completion. So for example, like here I'm trying to get like to pre-process the dates, making sure that it's compatible with the dashboard, and then also I'm trying to aggregate data on a weekly basis here, so that we can I can create weekly reports, instead of a day, because here you can see it's a day aggregation, right? So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a weekly aggregation, and then on the same time we can also union stuff, where here, for example, I'm doing union of all the data, from where, for example, if you want to stitch everything from Facebook, Google, you want to stitch everything. Remember, it can be really crazy and overwhelming on Google Sheets, and using Supermetrics API alone. You need data warehouse like BigQuery, and then a data scientist like myself to kind of like help you build all those queries that you need, pre-process those things before it comes to the dashboard, right? So what does it mean here? So with queries like this, I can help you kind of display like a blended data, of all things, like all channels, under one dashboard. So, kind of stitching every single channel, right? So this is going to save you a lot of work by going to different ad platforms, and or even just use your Google Sheets right now to kind of see every, the performance of every ad platform. So I can help you build this, and and plug it into Looker Studio dashboard, or even a custom Django Python dashboard, which doesn't even use Looker altogether. I'll talk about that later. There's more power on that when it comes to using Django and Python for that. Okay, all right. So I hope this answers the all the inquiries that you have, all the questions that you have. I hope that this is sufficient enough to kind of convince you that I'm the guy for the job, and yeah, I'm the guy that can help you and your company and your team. Because as I mentioned, it's not because I'm like the best candidate in the world for this job. It's just that I have just enough experience with my previous clients that I work with. It is somewhat relevant to your business, and I think if I can pull it out from with the other clients, like if I can make it work for them, I can definitely make it work for you as well. And hopefully by the end of the project, we'll be able, you'll be satisfied with the services that I'm about to give you, and throughout the journey. So yeah, hoping for hear from you guys. All right, cheers, and stay tuned and watch my next video for the second one. All right.